I'm Al Gravis, and I'm the Director of Operations for Barron Electric. And purpose of tonight's demonstration, we want to provide safety training for EMTs, firefighters, law enforcement officials in our service territory to try and make their jobs safer and easier. Firefighters, EMTs, and those folks by nature tend to rush in and help. And we want to make sure they assess the situation before they go in so they don't become a victim themselves. The dangers of electricity are out there. They can be unseen, and we just want to make them aware of what's happening in the situations that they're dealing with every day.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
In general, do most first responders have a pretty good respect for electricity, or do they tend to take some risk because you talked about that? You know, they jump in there and want to do some good right away.
Well, I think they very much have a respect for it. I don't think respect is the issue, but in situations where lives are in danger and people's homes are in danger, their tendency is to help, and we just want to make sure they think about the dangers before doing that. So it's not a lack of respect for electricity; it's just the nature of what they do.
Are there any kind of key points that you could stress? Like you talked about tonight, don't consider the meter, disabling the meter as disabling the power, as that's a very important concept. Are there other concepts that are real key?
Treat every wire as though it's energized. So whether it's laying on the ground, it's wrapped in a tree, it's up on the pole. Treat it as though it's energized. There's no way of knowing without the proper equipment whether that line is energized or de-energized. We talked about meters as a disconnect. Don't trust that. There's too many different types of metering out there to use that as a disconnect. Safety. Don't consider things as insulators as wood, trees, not an insulator. Tires on a car, not an insulator. Those things can all burn. Energy can pass through them and cause injury.
And you repeated a number of times. You went through first responders to call you guys right away. And it sounds like you call dispatch, but also call utility right away.
Yeah.
You shouldn't take that for granted or assume that's going to happen.
Absolutely, because 911 may have been the first call, and if there isn't an outage, we're probably not getting a call unless it comes from these folks at the sheriff's department or the fire department or EMTs. If they don't make sure that we're called, we may not get that call. 1 milliamp or 1/1000th of an amp, you'll probably feel a slight tingling sensation. At 10 milliamps, mild shock. Nothing real bad, but it's going to be uncomfortable. 25 to 50 milliamps, excuse me. Your muscles are going to start to spasm, contract. Shocks can be very painful. At 50 milliamps, now 50 milliamps is what it takes to light a 15-watt light bulb. That same 50 milliamps into your body will put your heart into ventricular fibrillation. It's not a good thing. 200 milliamps. We're only up to 2/10 of an amp at 200 milliamps. We're not even talking a full amp yet. Severe burning. If the duration is long enough, those fluids in your body, the water, the blood, is going to start to boil. It's going to start to cook from the inside out. Just at 200 milliamps, 2/10 of an amp. What we're going to do here, to show you what this hot dog is going to do at 240 volts and 120 volts with the load of a 75-watt light bulb. Depending on the duration, it'll start to blister. You'll see the heat intensifying on the inside. So finally the skin breaks. Starts to break down. The moisture inside of those hot dogs starts to boil. Steam starts to vent out through the skin. It's much of the same thing that's going to happen in an electrical burn. Several things affect that. The duration, how long you're exposed to that current. The condition of your skin. Are you sweating? Do you have a lot of moisture? Is there moisture on the ground? The path that the current takes. Where's my contact? Is it in my arm, across my chest, without the other arm, through my vital organs? Is it in the leg, on the foot? Is it across the wire down across the road? Car hit a pole. You've got to get in there and help that victim. Wires hanging down. It's not touching anything. It must be dead. I don't see any arcing. but you walk up, take the lights out down the road. It's like a well.